I have 8 years of product manager experience. There is no typical product management definition. It has a lot to do with getting whatever needs to be done. So it's going to revolve around setting the strategy for what the product should be, figuring out what you should be doing, figuring out why you should be doing it, and then going through the execution to make sure that that stuff gets done. So I like to think most of it is focusing on the what you're doing and the why you're doing it, and then transferring that over to make sure that everybody else in the organization understands how we're going to do it and what needs to be finished. Probably the most critical thing to make sure to do is role as a product manager is to make sure everybody's on the same page. Everybody understands what we're trying to accomplish and how we're going to accomplish that. The second most critical thing is to understand your market and your customers to make sure that you understand the needs that they have and what you're trying to solve for. And that way you can translate that into the final thing, which is really your roadmap and how you're going to execute against those needs and what kind of value you're going to provide to your customers. So, when creating epics and stories, the first thing is to make sure that you understand what it is that you're ultimately trying to accomplish. The epic is going to give you that high level degree of here's the big picture of what we're trying to solve for. The stories themselves then are going to be broken down into easily delivered chunks. Um, and it's important to keep those two in concert so that you don't break down those stories to a such a small level that you're not able to actually deliver the overall goal that you're trying to solve for. So you want to make sure that's the what you're trying to solve for, who it's going to be related to. So whether it's a persona or if it's something to do with a certain type of user that you're trying to accomplish, and what that ultimately success goal is going to be. So that if somebody's able to complete this epic or go through this thing, what it is that they're trying to solve, and how are you going to be able to measure that they've been successful. So trying to provide the value as a product manager, I think the best way of putting it is to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So in my current role, we are retiring a legacy product and replacing it for with a new product. And in doing so, there is a lot of confusion within the organization about why we're doing it and what is the value of the new product because they don't see it having the same features and capabilities. So the value that I'm bringing now and where this is really coming into play is really making sure that everybody's on the same page with our strategy to say, here's why we're replacing the old product. What are the problems with it? Here's what the new product offers and why it's a good thing. And that, yes, there are going to be some differences, but we're able to focus on the positive of the new product and to be able to make sure that everybody is on the same page working towards the common goal uh, of a successful rollout of the product. Yes, I am familiar with objectives and key results. These are basically going to be your metrics that you want to put into place to be able to track what it is that you're doing and provide you with some sort of scoring so that you can go against to make sure that you are accomplishing what it is that you're setting out to accomplish. So, for the relationship between product management and engineering and user experience for that sense is should be a collaborative one. It's something that you want to work together to come up with the solution. So product is going to come up with the what we should be working on, the reasoning behind what we're working on, but the other groups are going to actually be executing that and coming up with the final solutions. So we want to be more of a guiding, but working in concert with them to make sure that everybody understands what we're trying to accomplish, spell out the goals and what it is that we need to have done, and then let them go through and use their creativity to come up with the solution. Then serving as the as questions come up to resolve any outstanding questions and make sure that everybody is operating in a way that will be conducive to solving that problem. User experience is very similar. You want to set out the parameters of which we're going to work under. and have the user experience come up with the mock-ups or the designs that they're going to do, work with them to kind of go through to find out what it is that we like about the solution, what I don't like about the solution. Um, all in all, it's a very collaborative process, um, with really guiding, providing more direction and answering questions as they come up than anything else. So there's multiple ways you can determine whether or not something is successful or delivers high value. Um, One is just simply asking your customers that you have is what kind of value that they're getting out of that, and see what their responses are. The other thing is your product selling? Uh, the key is though you come up with measurable uh, tactics in order to evaluate this. And in the past, we've used things such as the NPS score, the Net Promoter Score, that gives you a good feel for how people would recommend your product to others and whether or not it's successful and has value to them. You can also get that similar information through conversations with your customers to dig into how they're using the product, what it is that they like about it, what they don't like about it, whether or not it's solving their need that they got the product for in the first place. The biggest key in this is picking measurements and evaluating those, uh, and whether that's for each individual release or the product in general. Well, the first thing, if they did not deliver what it is that was asked for, is to kind of go in and ask them what their understanding was of what they were being asked to deliver. A lot of times it might just be that it was not properly communicated to what the ask was in the first place, and they delivered what they thought they meant what was being asked for, not what it was actually asked for. With that, then it's going to be delving into and doing some sort of root cause analysis of if it's something that everybody agreed that they understood and were trying to deliver, finding out why the miss was there. This is not a blame game. This is not something that you go in with some sort of intent to kind of figure out, oh, this was somebody's fault or not. This is definitely a an investigation or looking into seeing what could we have done better, whether it's communication about what the need was, whether it's requirements definition, uh, whether it was not delivering on what they tried to deliver. So whether it was just technically not feasible or some other mechanism in place. But again, the biggest thing is let's look at what it is. If it's a trend, if it's a one off, we'll resolve it with doing better. If it's a trend, we can look at ways to improve the process in order to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. So yes, I have experience delivering a technology solution in product management capacity. I have worked in the enterprise software space for the last 10 years in various solutions, including recruiting solution, which I own today at PeopleFluent at LexisNexis. We were delivering an enterprise spend management solution, legal spend management solution. In both cases, these were SaaS-based solutions in which we were developing against to using agile techniques in order to deliver the software to our customers. So a good example of influencing the overall product strategy was I was at LexisNexis. So we were an enterprise spend management system. So we sold to legal departments in enterprise companies to handle their outside spend with law firms. The bulk of that product was around tracking the spending and the billing process in there, but there's a huge section that legal departments need to keep track of, which is actual, they call it matters, but it's the legal case that's being involved. So whether or not that's a litigation case or whether it's something like a mortgage closing for a bank per se, uh, we weren't really focused on that area. And one of the things that I was doing as I was talking to customers, we identified there's a big need to keep track of the matters, and as well as the spend related to those issues. So I really made the pitch that we need to expand our capabilities in that, and we opened up a whole new area within the product to handle what we call matter management, um, allowing the the company to keep track of all the relevant data for the case and then communicate that back and forth with the law firm they hired to handle it. So I've used a bunch of different techniques over the years, whether it's by a feature where you can give customers a whole list of things that you're thinking about doing, giving them money, you know, to apply towards each of those things so that you can identify which ones are most important to them. Um, I've used different techniques of just thinking aloud while you have them walk through uh, the application and talk about what it is that they're trying to accomplish and what problems they're encountering, so you can identify what it is that they're having trouble with as a user. Um, we've done different techniques where uh, surveys. We're right now we also have what we call our product board, where we post things out that people can vote on or submit new ideas, and other people can vote on those ideas. So you can get an idea of what it is that they're doing. We then take that information and then do a more in-depth call with the person to kind of get at what it is that they're trying to accomplish and the problem that they're trying to solve. So a lot of customer interviews, a lot of discussions, both as a group, whether it's a uh, group discussion or whether it's a one-on-one discussion. So when I'm not in the office, some of the things that I like to do to keep myself busy is I golf a lot. I still play soccer with a group of friends in a league, and I do scuba dive. I try to take at least one trip a year on a nice scuba trip. Yes, I confirm you may use this video for hiring and evaluation purposes.